People love to crown 50 Cent as one of the coldest, smartest bosses in the rap game and Wack 100. He learned that lesson the hard way. Tony Yayo didn't hold back either. He straight up said G-Unit never had to check in with anybody. Period. No sugarcoating, no industry politics, just facts. Yayo called them a militant squad locked, loaded, and ready to roll in any city they touch down in. And 50? Oh, he let folks know exactly where his mindset came from. Don't get ready. You stay ready. That's not just a bar, that's survival mode. And trust, that energy is why nobody ever pressed G-Unit on their turf or anybody else's.
You got the drop on 50 Cent one time?
We thought we did until we got in there. Mike called us, Tony was up there. I got up there. We got up there, we came in and strapped to their thigh, bullies on them, semis on them, magazine cartridges. I said, yeah, he ain't slipping.
Today's not the day.
Nah. 50 moved different,
And did 50
I'm glad
see
that
you?
didn't happen. Though. He see me, but he didn't know that's what we was on. We never approached him. I'm glad it never happened.
See, that wasn't just a slick one-liner from 50, it was a whole lifestyle. So when Wack 100 tried to pull a power move and strong-arm him, baby, he had no idea what kind of storm he was about to step into. Here's the tea Wack was doing what he does best, running his mouth loud on Clubhouse, when out of nowhere, he started spinning this wild story about 50. He took it way back to the days when 50 was still beefing heavy with the game, who used to ride with G-Unit. Now, since Wack was managing game back then, he tried to act like he was the shot caller. According to Wack, he thought he could just roll up on 50 like it was sweet. Allegedly, someone tipped him off that 50 was chilling at the SLS Hotel in LA, posted up at the bar. So what does Wack do? He pulls up Deep 10 Dude's strong, thinking he's about to make a bold power play. Phew, he really thought he was that guy. But baby, what happened next? Pure chaos.
Taught us that, not trying to throw shots at
Sure.
But you could not do nothing to him.
The moment they stepped through that door, the vibe turned Arctic, so cold you could feel it in your bones. That's when Wax claims it finally clicked. 50 wasn't rolling solo, not even close. He was posted up with a squad so sharp they looked straight out of a Navy SEAL mission, like 8 stone-faced killers who didn't blink once. Then came the move. Oh, that move. Wax said it was pure savage, straight gangster. You could hear the fear laced in his voice as he replayed it. The truth? 50 wasn't just ready, he was miles ahead, playing chess while Wack was stuck on checkers. And those men flanking 50? Please, these weren't your run-of-the-mill bodyguards. They moved like a precision strike team, locked, loaded, eyes darting, like predators waiting for the slightest hint of danger to pop off.
You got the drop on 50 Cent one time?
We thought we did.
Right.
We thought we did. Until we got in there.
That's when it smacked him hard. 50 wasn't caught slipping, not even for a second. In fact, it started feeling like 50 orchestrated the whole setup just to flex his power and remind everybody exactly who runs this game. And here's where it gets deliciously messy. To a lot of people watching, Wack's little hotel pull-up didn't look innocent at all. Nope, they saw it as a full-blown move to extort 50, especially since 50 landed in LA without checking in, and y'all know Wacky's forever, preaching that check-in gospel like it's law. He tries to play it off, saying slick stuff like, it's just about showing love, letting folks know you're in town, acting all chill. But then he doubles down, swearing up and down, that even he checks in wherever he goes.
Mike called us, Tony was up there. I got up there. He came in.
How deep were you?
About 15.
15 people.
Yeah, we wasn't that deep.
Might be down there Friday. He'd say all casual like it's no big deal. But anyone who really understands street politics knows the code behind those words. In the rap world, especially in cities thick with gang TIs checking, and ain't no friendly heads up. It's a mandatory nod to the local shot callers, making sure they bless your presence before you start moving on their turf. And let's not sugarcoat it, it's almost never free. Sometimes it's cold, hard cash. Other times, it's a guest verse for some local rapper trying to pop. Or worse, it's those hush-hush favors nobody talks about but everybody whispers. Whatever the neighborhood kings demand, that's the toll. Folks like to dress it up, saying it's all about respect, showing love. But if it's really love, why do the threats and smoke come raining down when somebody skips the ritual? In La, plenty of artists play along, locking in with gangs like it's their own version of street insurance. But 50? He's always been different. He made it crystal clear he don't bow to no street politics. But here's where it gets even spicier. Wack 100 wasn't the only one trying to check 50. Suge Knight came for him too. Yeah, that Suge Knight. This drama goes deep, way before 50's star even rose. It started when Dr. Dre cut T.I.'s with Death Row to build his Aftermath empire. Suge saw Dre's move as straight up betrayal. Then Dre brought Eminem into the fold, and when M signed 50 under Aftermath, it was like tossing gasoline on a bonfire. Suge already had decades of beef with Dre, and now 50 was just another target caught in the crossfire. Suge wasn't about to let that history die. He stayed scheming in the shadows, always waiting to flip the table. One of the wildest moments, the In Da Club video shoot. Everything was running smooth, cameras rolling, vibes right until somebody screamed, "Suge Knight is here." Just like that, the entire set froze. And Suge, he didn't pull up solo. He came deep 30 heads strong, many tied to a notorious Mexican gang. The air turned electric. It wasn't just an entrance. It was a silent threat. Classic Suge. He didn't have to speak a single word. His presence said it all.
We got up there, we came in and shit. You had Navy SEALs with him. 2 in all directions. Probably about 6 of them.
Panic spread like wildfire. People scrambled in every direction while 50 and his crew stormed outside, locked in and ready for whatever chaos might pop off. That was Suge's signature move, rolling up unannounced, commanding attention, and dropping unspoken threats without saying a single word. But baby, the tension didn't stop there. The pot really boiled over at the 2000 for Vibe Awards. What should have been a night honoring hip-hop's greats turned into straight-up mayhem. Dr. Dre was about to receive his Lifetime Achievement Award, a moment decades in the making. Snoop Dogg and Quincy Jones were even set to present it, giving the evening major royalty energy. Every detail was lined up for a history-making celebration until all hell broke loose.
Respected Eminem, 50, and that was with us. So Suge came, he had some Mexican niggas. Now we from New York. You ain't never seen a nigga with a tattoo on his forehead. Sliced the cigar, and it's the shit about Suge. He liked the cigar, and he was trying to see what you gonna do.
Then boom, out of nowhere, this dude named Jimmy James Johnson strolls up to Dr. Dre like he's about to fan out and ask for an autograph. But instead, he clocks Dre with a straight-up sucker punch right there on stage in front of God, hip-hop, and everybody. The crowd lost its damn mind. Screams echoed, chairs went airborne, and people stampeded for the exits like the building was on fire. Smack dab in the middle of that chaos, young Buck, word is Buck, whipped out a blade and started slicing through the madness. Later, it came out that he stabbed Johnson, allegedly trying to shield Dre from getting jumped. And Buck wasn't alone. Johnson got mobbed by a wave of bodies before security even had a chance to react. The whole scene spiraled into a legal circus, arrest warrants flying, headlines screaming, and Buck catching charges for the stabbing. But here's the $1 million question. Was Suge Knight the puppet master behind this chaos? Nobody's naming names, but in the streets, the whispers were loud as hell. Tony Yeo even spilled that right after all hell broke loose, he caught Suge Knight and Irv Gotti straight up strolling past the G-Unit trailer like they were taking a victory lap, cool as ice, unbothered by the chaos swirling around them. It didn't look random. It looked calculated, like they were in on the storm before it hit. And 50, he wasn't about to get caught slipping. The second he felt that dark energy creeping in, he made a boss move. He told his crew to hit the stores and stock up on knives. That's how tense it got. 50 could smell trouble brewing and wasn't about to take any chances, and time proved his instincts were dead on. When the dust finally settled, Tony Yeo caught 3 years probation and had to clock 80 hours of community service for his part in the madness. But let's be real, that whole situation was a wake-up call for anyone watching. 50 Cent doesn't play when it comes to protecting his empire. He's never been the type to rely on some glitzy, rent-a-cop security detail. Nah, 50 surrounds himself with real ones, people with street smarts, unshakable loyalty, and zero hesitation to handle business when things go left.
You can see a shiny knife in his right hand. He lunges over the top with a stabbing motion. Police say that is 23-year-old young buck who then vanished.
And one name that always carried weight in the streets, Monster. If you know, you know. Monster wasn't just some massive dude standing around for show. He was 50's enforcer. His muscle, his silent protector, the kind of presence that made entire rooms shift without a single word. Wherever 50 moved, Monster was never more than a few feet away, watching everything, clocking every face in the crowd, quiet as a shadow but deadly if pushed. He wasn't the type to flex or run his mouth. He didn't need to. His energy spoke, louder than words ever could. That's why there's so little out there about him. No interviews, no headlines, just calculated, silent moves. But real fans know. Watch any of 50's old club appearances or behind-the-scenes footage and you'll spot Monster always hovering in the background. There's even a clip from the airport where paparazzi swarmed 50, flashing lights in his face and theirs. Monster instantly stepping in, blocking cameras, holding the line like a pro. Every time 50 hit a stage or walked into a club, Monster was locked in, scanning the room like a soldier on a mission. One especially heated moment when 50 had that friction with Trav on stage, Monster didn't flinch. He was poised, ready to move at a second's notice. For years, he was like 50's human shield, never slipping, never missing a beat. And get this, the whispers say 50 allegedly had a video pulled from the YouTube channel Infamines because it showed something Monster reportedly handled on 50's behalf. Whatever was in that footage, 50 clearly didn't want the world to see it.
I wouldn't say we were scared, but it was the Vibe Awards when we seen Suge Knight and Irv Gotti and they walked past the trail.
Infamines built their whole reputation on dropping raw, unfiltered deep dive street documentaries, and one video in particular struck a nerve big time. They didn't just tell stories, they pulled back the curtain on how 50's security really moved in the streets, putting Monster front and center as the quiet but lethal force behind the operation. And they didn't stop at surface level gossip. Nah, they went all the way in exposing details, showing clips, and breaking down Monster's role as 50's personal enforcer like they were narrating a mob movie. It was bold, risky, and it had the streets buzzing.
50 just look at James Cruz, so he just taps James Cruz and say, yo, go buy 20 knives. Yeah, just go to the hardware store. It was about 20 to 15 of us, something like that. Suge Knight got like some crazy looking, Compton looking dudes with him, you know what I'm saying?
They didn't just drop Monster's name, they put him on full blast, showing actual photos of him posted up with 50 in all kinds of situations, breaking it all down like a play-by-play of how the man kept everything airtight behind the scenes. But here's where it got really messy. The video allegedly spilled tea on a crime 50 Cent was tied to. Yeah, you heard that right. According to their claims, Infamines laid out the whole wild saga between 50 and Slowbucks at Hot 97's Summer Jam in 2014. That was the infamous night. Slowbucks got rocked and had his chain snatched right on stage in front of thousands. Infam didn't just skim, they went step by step, showing where everyone was, how it unfolded, and who allegedly played what role. No filters, no hesitation. And 50? He wasn't here for it. Word is he personally reached out to Infamines demanding they pull the video. Not long after, poof, it vanished without a trace. And of course, that move only added fuel to the fire. Fans were like, if there was nothing shady, why go out of your way to erase it? But here's the thing, Monster's loyalty to 50 wasn't just about standing tall in a hoodie looking intimidating. It came with a heavy price. Protecting the boss meant diving headfirst into real-life drama, sometimes violent, always risky, and catching serious heat for it. Over the years, Monster picked up multiple assault charges, mostly for roughing up people who got a little too bold around 50. One of the most infamous moments? Back in 2010 in Copenhagen, Denmark, when Monster was slapped with assault charges after allegedly going after two photographers outside the swanky hotel Skakiti Petri.
Monster like the smallest, biggest security I ever know. Like his presence is big as fuck.
The New York Daily News even jumped on the story, splashing it across their pages like a headline ripped straight out of a gangster flick. One of the photographers, Nicolo Era, spilled the tea to Radar Online, and baby, his account was wild. He claimed everything went left in seconds. According to him, one of 50's bodyguards stormed out, barked at them to clear out, and before he could even react, bam, he grabs my throat and tries to strangle me. Nicolo said, he cut off my airway. I couldn't breathe. Then he snatched my camera and deleted all the photos. It was the kind of chaos that had folks wondering just how far 50's team was willing to go to keep things airtight.
What up, 50?
Yo, what up, 50? What up, man? How are you? So, 50, real quick.
Monster wasn't just lurking in the background like some silent giant. He was out there making damn sure nobody laid a finger on 50, even if it meant crossing lines that would land him straight in a courtroom. That Copenhagen incident, it wasn't just local gossip. It blew up into international headlines, cementing just how far Monster would go to shield 50 Cent from any perceived threat. Whether it was an actual danger or just paparazzi camera flashes going off like fireworks, Monster wasn't the type to gamble. He moved like every moment was a split second away from life or death. Nicolo Era later admitted the whole ordeal rattled him so badly, he went straight to the hospital after to get checked out, still shaking and gasping for air.
Hold on. Y'all better stop this.
He made it crystal clear he was heading straight to the cops to file a full report and lock everything down on paper. Nicolo wasn't about to let that moment quietly disappear into the background. But it raises the real question, why does 50 Cent keep that level of heavy security around him 24/7? Some people love to clown him for it, joking that he moves like a head of state, even throwing shade about him allegedly hiring off-duty cops. They call it soft, but others, they know it's survival mode, plain and simple. When you've been through what 50's seen, playing with safety isn't an option. Let's not forget this is a man who survived getting shot 9 times. That kind of trauma doesn't just fade into the past. And tied to that dark chapter, one name that still sends chills, Supreme McGriff. Go back to the gritty 1,980 seconds, and Supreme was running Queens like a kingpin, heading the infamous Supreme team, a gang that kept Jamaica, Queens in a chokehold.
Hey, listen, 50 though.
They weren't just hustlers, they built an empire. The Baisley Park houses where Supreme came up became the heartbeat of his operation, a hub so powerful his crew rolled hundreds deep. And the money? Insane. Word on the streets was they were raking in around $200,000 a day from the crack game. Total domination. But like all empires, the cracks started showing. In 1987, McGriff got hit with a 12-year prison bid. He came out in 94 on parole, but freedom didn't stick by the end. Of that same year, he was back behind bars. It wasn't until 97 that he caught a break, got some charges dropped, and stepped back into the streets, this time with a new mission. Supreme wanted to flip the script and carve out a lane in the music industry. But his past, it shadowed him everywhere. That's when he linked up with Ya Rule and became a heavy street protector for Murder Inc., making sure their artists stayed untouchable and any problems got handled quick. At first, things between 50 and Supreme were cool. Back then, 50 wasn't a household name, just a hungry artist grinding for his shot while Ya Rule was already dominating the charts. Trying to make noise, 50 dropped his infamous track, How To Rob, a lyrical stick-up where he dissed pretty much everyone in the industry. That's when the temperature started rising. Then came the full-blown beef with Ya Rule. According to 50, it sparked after his boy Troy snatched his chain. Later, when 50 and Ya crossed paths at a club, 50 said he actually tried to squash it, but Ya wasn't hearing it. He believed 50 played a role in setting him up. Years later, Ya admitted the robbery went down but insisted he never saw 50 with Troy. I didn't even know, Ya said, but by then, the damage was done. The bad blood was already boiling, and there was no turning back.
This is what Info Minds did. He would show pictures of 50 Cent, different pictures of 50 Cent in regular settings, right? Until Info Minds highlighted this guy that was in like every picture.
That's when Supreme stepped in and told 50 straight up fall back and stop poking at Ya Rule. And because 50 once looked up to Supreme as a street legend, he held it down for a minute. But let's be real, 50 was never built to stay quiet just because somebody told him to. He He kept firing shots in his music, refusing to back off. Then in 1999, things got dark real dark. Both 50 and Supreme lost someone close. Black Just, a mutual friend, was gunned down, and the streets were buzzing with whispers about what really went down. It all reportedly started over a car deal gone sour. Rapper E-Money Bags had allegedly fronted Supreme a deposit for a whip, but when Bags asked for his cash back, Supreme laughed it off. Bags didn't take that lightly. One day, he supposedly caught Supreme slipping. Supreme was riding in a car with Black just when shots ran out. Black just took to bullets one, even tore through his thigh. But here's the part that still has people heated. Instead of rushing just to the nearest hospital, Supreme allegedly drove back to the hood and told someone else to take him in. That delay? It cost just his life. From that moment on, E-Money, Bags had serious enemies in the streets, and the tension was deadly. Meanwhile, 50's beef with Ya Rule wasn't cooling down, it was boiling over. Supreme kept siding with Ya, trying to convince 50 to drop it and move on, but 50 wasn't having it. He hated how Supreme was riding for Ya so hard, especially when 50 felt like he'd been the one disrespected from jump. And let's keep it a buck, Supreme never saw 50 as the golden ticket. He already had Ya Rule raking in big money. Switching loyalty? Not even a thought. Then came the night everything got flat out disrespectful. 50 and Ya Rule ended up performing at the same club, and all hell broke loose. A full-on brawl erupted, fists flying, chaos everywhere. And when the dust settled, 50 walked out holding Ya Rule's chain like a war trophy. He even flexed it later in his Life's on the Line video, dangling it like a prize, sending a loud and clear message to the entire industry.
Darius' video that vanished from InfoMind's channel was about none other 50 Cent.
That move humiliated Ya Rule in front of the entire industry. Of course, Ya ran crying to Supreme, hoping the street boss could get his chain back. But Supreme, he was over it. This was already the second time he'd had to step in and clean up Ya's mess, and now 50 was out here clowning Ya's image in public like it was comedy hour. Supreme was tired of playing middleman. Meanwhile, 50, he wasn't slowing down, he was fully locked in on dismantling Murder Inc. Brick by brick, his relationship with Supreme started crumbling fast. Tony Yayo even shared a wild story about one of their final face-offs, where 50 and Supreme came eye to eye and 50 didn't flinch. No fear, no backpedaling, just raw tension crackling in the air. But 50 wasn't done turning up the pressure. He started rolling heavy with names like E-Money Bags, Big Nose Troy, and Green-Eyed Born street legends who all had serious beef with Supreme. Just being seen with them was like throwing gasoline on an already raging fire. At this point, 50 wasn't just beefing with Ya Rule, he was taking aim at the entire foundation propping up Murder Inc. Then came the track that sent shockwaves through the streets, Ghetto Quran. That song didn't just make noise, it tied 50 directly to New York's real street legends. And the name that jumped out the most? Supreme. When Supreme heard it, he was livid. According to 50, other rappers had dropped Supreme's name before, celebrated his legacy even, and Supreme loved the attention. But when 50 did it, the energy shifted. Supreme didn't take it as homage. He took it as exposure. And that fragile relationship shattered on the spot. To some in the streets, Ghetto Quran felt like a tribute, a gritty documentation of the real players who shaped the game. But Supreme wasn't buying it. He felt 50 crossed a line, said too much, and he wasn't about to let that slide. Not long after the track dropped, Supreme survived a hit attempt at a gas station. But coming out of that brush with death, he wanted blood. Word spread fast. Supreme believed 50 had something to do with the shooting. And that's when things turned deadly serious. Supreme allegedly called in a heavy hitter, Daryl Homo Baum, a feared street enforcer who used to serve as Mike Tyson's personal bodyguard. The rumor? Supreme put big money on the table and told Homo to handle it. The target?
Remember that shit that happened to Slow Bucks on that stage? InfoMind's documentary had footage from that Slow Buck situation. He was highlighting niggas and shit.
It was May 24th, 2000, the day that would forever change hip-hop history. 50 had just stepped out of his grandmother's house. His little boy was inside, and his grandma was chilling on the front steps like any ordinary day. But what happened? Next was anything but ordinary. As 50 slid into the backseat of a car, another vehicle crept up out of nowhere. No warning, no words, just cold intentions. A man calmly walked up to the window and unleashed 9 shots from a 9mm. 9 bullets fired straight into the car like it was target practice. It was supposed to be the end, a hit designed to silence 50 forever. But fate had other plans. Bullets tore through his hand, arm, hip, both legs, chest, and one even ripped through his left cheek, leaving his tongue partially paralyzed and his signature slur forever etched into his voice. One shot missed a major artery by mere inches. Inches chilly. Had it gone higher, the rap game would have lost one of its most ruthless soldiers, but against all odds, 50 survived. 3 weeks in the hospital, multiple surgeries. And when he walked out, the man was no longer just Curtis Jackson, he was a living, breathing symbol of survival. Fast forward 3 years later, and 50 dropped Many Men, a chilling anthem where he pulled the curtain back on his near-death experience. He even named Homo as the triggerman, but by then, Homo was already gone, reportedly taken out in an unrelated street retaliation. The streets were cold-blooded and karma wasn't wasting time, but it didn't stop there. July 2001 saw E-Money. Bags laid out in his Lincoln Navigator. Some whispered it was payback for Black Just death. Others swore it traced back to an alleged robbery involving Irv Gotti and Ya Rule. Either way, the block was buzzing and fear was in the air. Then came Big Troy, another heavyweight in the scene, gunned down just 3 months after Bags. Back-to-back losses. The streets weren't just talking now. They were screaming. The body count was climbing and New York was on edge like never before.
50 up there. Cream, dude, you know the old school shit. You know what 50 did? Yeah, my nigga.
Do it back, yeah.
Yeah, my nigga.
That's-
Oh, you know what the block did?
Yeah, that's what
Oh!
By 2002, the feds had seen enough. They came crashing down on Kenneth Supreme McGriff, slapping him with multiple murder charges. In a wild twist, Supreme even pointed to 50's Ghetto Quran during the investigation, claiming it could be used against him. But when detectives pressed 50 for answers, he didn't flinch. Just listen to the record, he said, period. Meanwhile, Murder Inc. was crumbling under federal heat. By 2005, Irv Gotti faced charges for allegedly laundering money for Supreme. The industry held its breath, but Gotti beat the case. Supreme wasn't so lucky. With testimony from a hitman and damning evidence, the court hit him with a life sentence on April 9, 2007. His empire wiped out, assets frozen, power gone. As for 50, surviving 9 bullets didn't just change his life, it made him a legend. Before the shooting, people respected his hustle. After, he became a symbol of raw survival. So when folks clown him for moving heavy with security, they're missing the point. It's not fear, it's knowing the streets too well to ever slip. Again, if this deep dive had you hooked, drop a comment, hit like, subscribe, and share. Because here, the tea stays hot.